Hello everybody, thanks for joining us again today. My name is Deanne Fisher. I'm the Director of Public Affairs and Customer Service with Newfoundland and Labrador Hydro. Welcome to the media here, to our residents who are following us on Facebook Live. We're really hopeful that the audio has been fixed today and you can hear us well. We're just going to start off now with some introductions. Much like yesterday, we have representatives here from Newfoundland Labrador Hydro as well as Newfoundland Power. A little reminder for anybody who wasn't with us yesterday, Newfoundland Labrador Hydro is the generator of the electricity in the province. We then pass that over to Newfoundland Power and they distribute it to homes and businesses. So we have both representatives here with us today to help provide you with an update. I have with us here today Rob Collett, who is the VP of Engineering and the Newfoundland and Labrador System Operator from Newfoundland Labrador Hydro. And next to Rob is Byron Chubbs with Newfoundland Power, and Byron is the Vice President of Engineering and Energy Supply. So how it's going to go today is Rob's going to give us a little bit of an update on where we are with the system, some progress since yesterday, conservation efforts and those things, and then turn it over to Byron for a few things to say. But after that, it's mainly going to be open to questions from the media. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Rob, and he'll give us a brief update on where we're to today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deanne, and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rob Collett, and I'm the Vice President of Engineering and System Operator for NL Hydro. And to start off, okay, we'll have an update here today, but the first message I'd like to convey is sincere thanks. Yesterday, we asked for conservation, and it is exactly what we got. From residential customers, from businesses, from the communities across the province, we saw the response. We saw the lights go off, in people's homes. They took the time to turn off their appliances, and as we watched our system come upon peak yesterday evening, we saw the power actually decline in times instead of increase. So that just goes to show how the spirit of this province to come together in a difficult time to respond in everyone's best interest. So we want to sincerely thank everyone for that, because it truly did make a difference. Also to thank everyone for their patience. We understand this is a frustrating situation. People are frustrated with their power bills, and they're frustrated with this type of event. But we managed to, in this situation so far, thanks to you guys, things are hanging in there in terms of the system. And we appreciate the frustration, and we understand people have vulnerable relatives or people they care about, and we want to ensure that we want to assure everyone that we're coming out of the situation, because we have some good news, and we are cautiously optimistic. To be clear, we're still in a power warning. There's still a very tight situation with the system. We are still uncertain as to the imports that are coming in, but we do have some good news with respect to Bay d'Espoir. And that good news comes in terms of the clearing of the ice that was blocking our hydro generators. So if you can recall, after the first day, or 2 days, I should say, of ice clearing, we only managed to clear about half of one intake and half of another. But I think mostly attributed to the cold water conditions. We had a breakthrough there late yesterday evening, and the ice started to come off in sheets. The divers who are bravely in that water with the minus 25-degree wind chill up in the air were able to peel off sections of ice the size of mattresses. And piece by piece, we managed to get all three of our penstocks cleared. We still have one that is blocked, but with those 3 penstocks clear, we have been able to activate our generators. 6 of the 7 are now online, and through the night, we nursed them slowly and steadily back up to capacity. So right now, we have all 6 generators online. 2 are generating at 50 megawatts. The other 4 are generating at 20 megawatts. This is a delicate situation. We're watching the ice. This ice is still surrounding those penstocks. We do not want to move too quickly and take any chance in terms of there being an ice jam or something like that could set us back to where we started. So we're taking it very slow, very steady. In Bay d'Espoir plant, the plant, of course, was shut down for the first time in its history. So what we saw was that the plant was very cool, and for mechanical aspects like bearings for these generators, we had to be very careful on how the generators were turned back on. So very positive news, and that is absolutely, so to be clear, we're not out of the woods, but we're absolutely seeing daylight from where we are right now. So in terms of an outlook, again, we're taking it hour by hour. We are not, again, we're still in a power warning situation. We don't see, we're going to take it slowly through the afternoon, continue to monitor. I know there'll be a lot of questions about, well, what about the work day this week, schools in the morning, those types of things. And I can say that we're optimistic. Again, we are not out of the woods. We're going to take it slowly and steadily, but we're hopeful that if things hold as they are, we'll be in a better position and be able to make a better determination on how tomorrow will look. Again, significant demands, and from an import situation, things are much tighter. There are headlines across the country of the extreme cold temperatures. I think in Halifax right now, it's minus 31 degrees, and they are approaching capacity on their system. And when those types of things happen, there's less capacity available for us. So all these factors are in our considerations, and we're weighing them all very carefully and managing the system as we've done. And to finally, to close, I'd like to thank our crews. You know, the men and women in the insulated coveralls who are out there. The divers are in the water, but we also have crews up there in the minus 25 degree air, ensuring everyone is safe. People have left their families the other day with no idea when to be going back to them. So we thank them sincerely for their dedication, for their special skills, and their care for this province, because that's what's carrying us through this situation. Thank you as well to the provincial government for their support, Premier Wakeham, Minister Parrott. They've been reaching out specifically to ensure we were fully enabled. The government's, the Provincial Emergency Operations Centre is at the ready should there be any need for a response. So we appreciate all those who are, again, taking time away from their families to make sure that this situation is handled in the best possible way. So thanks so much, and I'll turn it over to Byron.
Thank you, Rob. And Newfoundland Power as well, we'd like to extend our appreciation to the entire team who are working hard at Bay Despair and also at Holyrood plant as well to get as much generation on the grid as possible right now. They're doing exceptional work in very difficult circumstances. I want to thank you, send a thank you to the communities, our customers, businesses across the island that have come together in response and to be asked to conserve. We know that energy conservation measures have disrupted your daily lives. Events and businesses have been shut down, have been cancelled. It's been a difficult time and uncertain time for everybody. So we truly appreciate your patience and your understanding. We've reached out to municipal customers, we've reached out to our larger business customers for support, and they have all stepped up. Household customers have also done their part in your efforts to reduce energy use, truly making a difference. Thank you, and please continue your efforts while we do remain in a power warning. And this is a power warning, so we are continuing to ask our customers to reduce your thermostats where you can a few degrees, to avoid using larger appliances like dishwashers, clothes dryers, and also to turn off unnecessary lights and appliances in your home. Our team at Newfoundland Power at our System Control Center is very closely monitoring the grid. We're working very closely with Hydro's team as well to keep our eye on the status of the system. We have staff watching power generation and energy demand around the clock. This gives us a clear and real-time understanding of the system conditions. I will say we're very encouraged by the news today from Hydro about Bay Despair and to see that the situation has improved. We do remain prepared for rotating customer outages if necessary. We haven't had to use them yet, thankfully, so that's very encouraging. They are a last resort for us, and we just want to let customers know that we're keeping our customers at the forefront of all of these decisions. So thank you very much.
You mentioned Nova Scotia is also now asking its customers, or Nova Scotia Power, to conserve as well. How does that impact Newfoundland and Labrador?
So it does impact our ability to get imports, I guess, and as we mentioned, so these imports are, I guess our connection to Nova Scotia through the Maritime Link allows power to be sent back to us from there. So typically we're an exporter, but in situations like this in an emergency, we can import power from them. And over the past few days, we've gotten power from Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and even New England. And that's come over the transmission lines through that link and helped power this province and get us through. again, they're non-firm, it's really hour by hour. So as the situation in Nova Scotia kind of gets cold, and as they approach their peaks as well, which typically happen in the evening time and also in the morning time, that's when the imports may become the most scarce. So it is timely that those units in Bay d'Espoir are up and running. If they weren't, we could be in a very different situation, but it's certainly a consideration and part of our analysis as we go through the next 24 hours.
Can you also describe, you mentioned yesterday that 6 o'clock could have been, the beginning of, I guess, that tough time using a lot of energy. What did you see last night that was able to not cause those rolling outages?
So the things that certainly helped us were, of course, the conservation from our customers. In terms of demand, if we don't have enough supply to meet the demand, we have to have rotating outages. So when that demand goes down through conservation, it makes all the difference in the world. And that's what we saw. Heading home last night, we saw the houses had their lights off, and everyone was doing their share. So we appreciate that. So between that and the imports and this Bay d'Espoir situation, those are all kind of factors that play into things, and especially during those peak times.
And we heard from customers as well, offices that were shutting down, pools in communities were shutting down, churches weren't going into their services today, they were shutting down, turning off the heat as well. So we saw a lot of outreach from our customers letting us know that they were conserving. The provincial government shutting down their buildings as well was a big contributor. So everything that customers are doing right now is making an impact.
Do you have any information on how much power was used last night versus a typical Saturday night?
It depends on a number of factors. I mean, we're up above 1,600 megawatts, which is a good winter peak for us. I mean, typically our peak could be up as high as 1,800 on a very, probably the coldest day, a cold 1 in 10-year cold day kind of thing. So we weren't quite up that high, but given the frigid, awful weather conditions right across the province, it was a good peak for us, but lower than it would have been thanks to that conservation.
I want to know about the imports that we've seen from Muskrat Falls. They've been going up. Can you explain a little bit about the developments of bringing energy over that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So Muskrat Falls, so the power comes down over the Labrador Island Link. And of course, that link is rated for 900 megawatts. But to date, we've only been operating it up to 700 megawatts, because that's as high as we've been able to test. Later this winter, hopefully in the March timeframe, we're looking to do a 900 megawatt test as one kind of final check to test those highest power levels. But given this emergency situation, we as a company, we said this is an emergency situation, and we are willing to go above that specified 700 megawatt limit for the situation. And it's helped us as well. That extra power coming down from Muskrat Falls and Labrador has been an additional boost for meeting the supply.
You've given us a lot of positive news today about conserving power. How severely should people be continuing their measures of conserving energy, and for how much longer?
No, you're absolutely right. And to be clear, we are still in a power warning. We are still asking for that conservation, because things we can only see a few hours in advance with those imports, and especially with that Bay d'Espoir situation, it is tenuous. It's a positive situation. The generators are going up and up, but again, this ice around the dams, just the loose ice that we've recently dislodged and everything could present a risk, and we don't want to cause an ice jam, something like that, with a sudden increased flow. This was a standing body of water, and now all of a sudden we're having a significant increased flow through those generators. So what kind of impact does that have on the ice? That's something we need to watch. So a very gradual progression is what we're doing. We're hoping it's not like snakes and ladders where we're taking steps forward, and hopefully there's no steps backwards.
And if there was a message to customers, is keep doing what you're doing right now, because it is making a difference.
You already touched on a question parents and maybe some teachers might have about schools opening tomorrow and other businesses. Can you speak a little bit more to that, and maybe help people get the latest information on that?
No, absolutely. And it's absolutely our intention to make sure that everyone has the information as soon as possible. It is a dynamic and fluid situation. We don't have crystal clarity on how the imports or how Bay d'Espoir is going to go over the next 24 hours. But we are going to monitor, and if we can kind of get Bay d'Espoir to a stable place, we have helicopters in the air kind of monitoring the ice in this reservoir as we're loading up the units. People kind of standing in those snowbanks, making sure that we're operating safely and there's no risk to the equipment in the supply. So we are monitoring, and given the way things have progressed, and if we can hold stable as we've been going, I think we will be in a very good position. And I don't know if it'll be tonight, but certainly tomorrow morning we will be in a position to advise, but of course as soon as possible we'll let everyone know.
Given the supply you have now, do you think that it's safe to open up schools and businesses completely?
I guess I would say I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic on the basis of the way things are right now that we can head into a normal work week and get back to normal. But again, things can change, and hoping things hold steady. But if things hold steady, we're in a very good position.
Yesterday, 2 of the 3 generators at the Holyrood plant were down. Can you give us a little bit of an update on that and how getting that back up and running would help the current situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Holyrood, we have 3 units, each rated for about 150 megawatts, 170 megawatts or so. So right now, Unit 1 is working fine. It's available for almost full capacity, so that's up and running. Unit 2 is the one we've been having issues with. It tripped off there a couple of days ago. It's back online there now, but at a reduced capacity, only 40 megawatts. So instead of the full 170, we're only getting a partial amount of that capacity. We have a specialist control system expert coming down from the mainland. He's going to arrive tonight, and he'll be in the plant tomorrow, and that should help us to troubleshoot the issues we're having and get that unit up and running. It's an old plant with old systems, and we put a lot of time, love, and care into making sure it works well. But just given the age of the systems, this is kind of a not unexpected thing that intermittent trips happen. So that's what's going on with that one. Unit 3 is our other unit, and that's been going through our major turbine overhaul. We expect that overhaul to be completed by the 31st, but we're working around the clock. We have night shifts going on all this week to try to advance that timeline as best we can.
Another question. So when you say yesterday, in the case of emergency, you wouldn't be able to give us much warning on what areas would experience a rolling outage. I want to know kind of like how much warning would you be able to give though if we were to enter that phase?
Sure. Well, I guess typically we would have an advanced. The advanced view of things would be, looking ahead at our peak. We have a couple of hours notice in terms of imports. So if we saw, okay, we are out of imports, we are stuck on generation, and we can't meet that demand, immediately at that time we would issue that power emergency warning, notifying of rolling blackouts. Of course, what would likely happen is that we have a sudden trip off of a unit or something like that, as can happen in our system all the time. There are contingencies that happen. There are lines that can trip off, generators that trip off, and normally we have enough supply such that is not an issue whatsoever. But given the tightness of the system in this circumstance, that it could be sprung upon us very quickly, and that's why we want to have these discussions. And thanks to everyone for listening and for being ready and prepared.
If we're at a future point in time, and our demand now is where it is, if Gull Island was online, would that alleviate some of the problem? We wouldn't need imports?
Muskrat Falls is sufficient to fill the Labrador Island link. So really, given the capacity that's available in Labrador right now, that's kind of sufficient for the island's supplies. So really, Gull Island would mostly be for Labrador supplies. So it would allow for industrial development up there or export to neighboring provinces and jurisdictions. I don't know if we would build a second link to the island. That'd be a difficult technical situation to achieve. But what would be most effective in our view is to add generation on the island for island supply. Right now we're looking at things like an 8th unit in Bay d'Espoir. And of course, and given this circumstance, there's technical things we can do now that we see this fragile ice risk. So in the future, we'll look to build projects so that there are actual systems to ensure that this ice removal doesn't happen in the future. So with additional units in Bay d'Espoir, additional gas turbines on the Avalon, that's our intention, and our best view as the least cost solution for the island. Whereas Gull Island, of course, like I said, for Labrador or for export.
Thank you for that. I just want to close out by saying thank you to everybody for listening in today. Thank you for the media for coming in and being so accessible and helping us get the message out. For everybody who's listening and watching, as Rob noted, the evenings and the mornings are the peak times when we see most of the usage. I would ask everybody to make sure you stay tuned to media, listen to the radio, online, watch our social media channels, Newfoundland Labrador Hydros, as well as Newfoundland Powers. We will be sharing real-time updates as much as we can to keep people informed so you can make plans. We aim to make updates in the evening and again early morning, so you can have some information about what the day is going to entail. So please stay tuned for all of that, and appreciate the media getting that message out for us as well. We will continue to update you regularly, but expect that you'll get some more information tonight. And as Rob had said, through those protocols, you'll see those on our social media sites as well, what we will go to. Again, we're in power warning. If we were to go to power emergency, we absolutely would update the public on that as soon as we would know. But as we said, we're cautiously optimistic, and we are going to continue to update you frequently. And thank you for everybody for your patience and for the conservation efforts. They absolutely made a difference to us. We all came together this time to make a difference, so we really appreciate that from all our customers, our businesses, the municipalities out there. So thank you for your patience, and stay tuned for more.
Thank you.
Thank you.